or for all of your catering needs. Visit us at mydeliciousdeli.com or give us a call at 561-393-3287. There is something for everyone. Join us at 7036 West Palmetto Park Boulevard in Boca Raton. 954-393-3287. The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
If you're into rainbows and butterflies and enjoy sugar-coated parenting advice, if you use social media with the hashtag blessed under your significant other on a daily basis, if your child speaks 4 languages before their first birthday and is on the cusp of curing world hunger, this is not the show for you. But if you're a real parent, living in the real world, working, hustling, and just managing to get through every day, you've come to the right place. Join Michelle Dempsey and Rachel Sobel, the realest moms on the block, every Tuesday night as we dive deep into the topics and conversations that everyone else avoids. We're the Keep It Real moms, honest, hilarious, and only slightly censored.
I am? Yeah. Hey, you don't want to take it this time?
I can.
Okay, you can. Hi, guys.
Hi, how are we doing
Hey.
today? Hey.
Am I introing?
No,
We
I can.
are the Keep It Real moms, and we're back. I am Michelle Dempsey. This is my co-host, Rachel Sobel, the fabulous blogger behind Wine and Cheez-Its. She's wearing a girl boss shirt because why not, right? And I'm just trying to look professional.
Well, you look very professional.
You know what?
But it's like sexy professional.
I had a meeting, and I couldn't
You
show.
don't owe me any explanation.
But I owe them an explanation.
No, you don't. You look great.
Oh, thanks. I like that attitude. You do. Well, hey. All right. So no explanation needed. Let's get right into things. We hope you all had an amazing Mother's Day.
Yes.
Rachel ate her face off
I
all
did.
day. Saw all the pictures.
All
I had
day.
an amazing day. I can't even go into detail, but it was perfect, along with my daughter picking out what I should wear and telling me that I
Mine
should look
did
like
too.
a princess.
I love
and
it. So good. I know.
It's an amazing thing to be a mom.
It is. And with being a mom, especially raising little girls, we have lots of things to consider, right? Because raising little girls is different from little boys. It's different.
Preach.
Right?
Yes.
So we talked about what we were going to discuss tonight. And part of it, it's a little bit twofold, right? Part of it is raising really strong, independent, powerful women.
Secure in who they are.
Mm-hmm. And then part of it is because of what we do, because we're not behind a desk at a 9-to-5 job and we've taken the leap to go off on our own in our own respective ways, we deal with a little bit of stereotyping, right? Of what makes up a female entrepreneur.
The stereotype is real. Right. And I have to tell you, I don't know if it's me personally, but the feedback that I've gotten about what I do and what I speak about, and the fact that I gear myself more towards female entrepreneurs and all of that, it's been like the same, especially for men, like this perpetual idea that I am I allowed to say bitch?
Yes, we cleared up that we're allowed to say it.
Okay.
Yeah.
That I must just be a bitch who hates men.
So that is I think the most common stereotype, that a woman who basically is strong enough to decide that she has had enough of working for somebody and wants to go off on her own. And it's scary. We've talked about that too, that she must be a bitch. She just must be.
And isn't that funny? Because, when a guy decides to go out and do his thing and start his own business,
he's a visionary.
He is brave. He is a superhero. And we're just like these nasty, claw you down type of women, which is so not the case, because in fact, me finding my own success, I feel like has made me more ready for the right man or like a great relationship, when before I'm like trying to start my business and do all these things and I'm distracted. Now I'm in a place where I'm successful on my own, honey. And
I don't know where it comes from the men who feel that way versus I think the women who feel that way. I've learned
must
from
just
my
be intimidated.
So from my own personal experience, I have learned that the women who project that and feel that have some sort of insecurity or a jealousy issue where they don't leave their job. Not jealous of me as a person, not because it's not. It's about the fact that
really,
I
who wouldn't be jealous of her?
Right. It's the
She's
fact
married
that
to Jason Sobel.
I am. I mean, that in itself is
ridiculous.
But I do think that there's some kind of insecurity or void that they feel, and so they project and take it out on you as someone who has actually done something they either want to do, or maybe they don't want to do it, but they just don't like that you don't have to join the ranks and sit behind a desk.
Right. Well, the opinions are going to be there. And of course, opinions are always fueled by jealousy or a fear of the unknown or all of that. But for me, I don't care about that. People are going to talk. I just say you can unfollow me on Facebook. I'm not going to cry about it.
Right.
But for me, it's more the idea behind, if I'm assertive and if I put myself out there and if I'm confident, that in turn is a bad thing. When I've worked my whole life to be the person that I am today, and I consider it the best thing to be. Like, I was not my happiest or my most confident person when I was stuck working for the man, or the woman.
And isn't that funny? You work so hard, whether it's in school or just kind of carving out your profession. And I had a similar experience at my last job in an office before I decided to go off on my own. It was the worst, most toxic environment. Excuse me. And I was in my element. I'd been doing what I'd done for so many years. I should have been comfortable. It was an in-house PR communications job, and it was at a company that did not empower women. It was a breeding ground for mean girls. It was just so unmotivating, and I should have been in my element there. I should have, on paper, been killing it and been in my element, and I literally just gave up mentally because I couldn't stand the people I was surrounded with, and the women particularly that I was surrounded with, and I needed out. I needed to not be surrounded by that toxicity anymore.
Right.
And so when you leave and you do your own thing, we have to fight tooth and nail to bring in business, because we're now competing against other people who are doing the same thing we're doing, but it doesn't have to be nasty, and it doesn't have to be.
But I'll tell you something about this. If you were to go tomorrow morning, decide, I'm going to pop into that PR firm, say hello and bring some coffee, it would be a total, because you're a different woman now. Like, you'd be able to handle that level of cattiness or bitchiness or whatever.
Yeah, and here's the funny thing. I wrote a very candid blog post on my blog when I left.
What isn't candid
called
with Rachel
that
Silva?
on wineandcheeses.com, called That Time I Quit My Job. And it was very, very honest about my struggles there and how I felt. I cannot tell you the amount of people from there who reached out to me privately, whether it was on Facebook Messenger or whatever, saying, "Oh my God, I can't believe everything you said is how I feel, but I can't leave. I don't have the, I just can't, for a lot of reasons." But everyone identified with it. And so for the first time, it took me leaving a job to feel like I actually had camaraderie from the job, because people were like, "Bravo, you said it." And that's exactly what's going on here, but no one has said it.
You tend to say what everybody else is thinking, no holds barred, which is obviously why we're friends.
Right.
But I think it's important that, we as women and moms and entrepreneurs and all of that shed light on the fact that, like, it's not just go off on your own and have like a merry little life. Like, there's so many obstacles. Right. I was sat down by my family, told I was crazy for doing what I was doing. I was never going to make any money. And I get that they were nervous, because the likelihood of becoming successful on your own in a short amount of time is not, but if you grind hard enough and ignore people's opinions, the sky's the limit.
And you have to give a lot. You're not going to, I think there's this misconception that people, all of a sudden, they wake up one day, they say, "I'm going to be a blogger," and they think they're going to make money doing it. You don't make money from your blog right away. You make money from all the other stuff that you're doing behind the scenes that may not even make it onto your blog to make ends meet and to, like, fund that part of your life, right? So, but I think that there's so many people out there that think there's this glamour behind, I'm going to be a blogger, I'm going to be famous on every social media platform I have, and the money's going to come rolling in. It doesn't work like that. You have to put yourself out there, which is why you're so good at what you do, is because you are a self-promoter. Like, you were born to do it. You're good at self-promotion in a way where people want to work with you and want to hire you. Part of going off on your own is having that bug. You have to be able to do that for yourself, because there's no one doing that for you, right?
Right. And I think if you're not comfortable with the idea of putting yourself out there, you're never going to be good at being your own boss or building your own business. But I know for me, a lot of the pushback, so a man will see me self-promoting and think, okay, she's stuck up. She must be like, who does she think she is? And then a woman is going to see me doing the same thing and be like, she's obsessed with herself. And both may be true. Who cares? The point is... But the point is, it took me a long time to get to that place where I could say, I'm just going to throw myself out there, whether you like it or not. Because if you see my face, you're seeing my brand. And if you're seeing my brand, you're telling somebody about my business the next time they ask for content marketing or consulting or any of that. So, of course.
Well, and that's one of the things I loved most about you when I met you, was that you're very unapologetically you. What you see is what you get, and I love that about all women. I love women. I don't care.
Authenticity counts for a lot, ladies.
100%. It doesn't matter what your personality is, but if it's real, it's real. And I may not be everyone's cup of tea. I'm sure there's people who read my blog and they're like, "Oh, this is awful." It's okay. I'm okay with that.
You're very authentically you too.
I am me. So if you're not liking what I'm writing, or you're not liking what I'm talking about, then you're not my audience, and that's okay.
Exactly.
It is what it is. But there's this culture of haters who want to knock you down because they don't like that you're enjoying success. And I don't understand where that comes from.
I went through I went from like no one to doing what I'm doing very quickly. And so I think there was a point at the end of last year where I was kind of like riding this wave of like speaking gig after speaking gig and client throwing parties and all this stuff. And I kind of felt, something inside of me was like, all right, time to back off a little bit. And like at a certain point, somebody wants to knock you down. Right. So, and I'm very good about like, I'm gonna take a step back for a second and like recalibrate my steps and then come back out there. But I felt it. You start to feel when it's like, all right, Michelle, it's enough. Like take it down a notch. But at the same time, I was able to. What's great is I self-promoted so hard while starting my business that I was able to pull back for a solid 3 months while I was going through personal stuff, not even really put myself out there that much, and still maintain my brand, my credibility, and still be the girl that people see me and they're like, oh, you're the Michelle Dempsey girl that does such and such. I succeeded with my self-promotion, which is so not the topic we're talking about.
It's not, but it
really
goes along. But it goes along with it. And it's interesting because what made me think of this whole topic as you and I were talking about it is I recently had a situation where someone from my past, who at one time was very close to me, somebody sent me a blog post that she wrote recently, and it was knocking girls who basically ditch the 9-to-5 and go off on their own, but it was in a very dismissive way, like, talking down if you're posting on Instagram all the time and you think you're going to be famous and no one wants to read the book you're going to write and all that stuff. And someone actually commented on her post, basically calling her out, and she immediately took the post down. What I found interesting, and we talked about this last time, is when you're off on your own and you're doing something trying to build a brand, especially with social media, people don't realize all this stuff behind the posting. There's a method to it. It's part of
strategy.
It. So, like, for example, I partner with a lot of brands who I love and I believe in. When I'm posting stuff with, whether I'm wearing their clothing or a piece of jewelry or a restaurant or whatever it is, it's because I believe in what they're doing and I'm trying to build my reputation and help a small business. And so it's not just fun and games posting on Instagram. There's a method behind it. There's a revenue cycle behind it. There's a whole business model behind it. But people who don't take the time to get what you're doing want to hate on it and just look at you trying to self-promote yourself on Instagram and get nasty about it. And I really was taken aback just by the fact that when I read all the words in the post, I was like, God, there are people out there who really don't get what we do. They think we're just like narcissistic people who are posting for the sake of posting, and it's not. It's a new way of building a brand and getting recognition and creating a business for yourself.
Yeah. Well, I have to say, we're going to go to break in a second, but speaking of the posting with a purpose, right? Like, so obviously that's how I utilize my social media, but for me, it's the clients that don't understand that there's a strategy. Like the client that texts me in the middle of the day and was like, can you put this up on Instagram? I'm like, no, because I planned out your Instagram a week in advance and there's a strategy there.
Right.
That's just a whole nother issue. But anyway, I'm your girl, Michelle Dempsey. This is Rachel Sobel. We're going to break. We'll be right back. And we have so much more to say.
So much more.
So much more. All the things. Thank you for listening to Babes in Business. I am your number one babe in business, your host, Michelle Dempsey of Very Well Written, the business I founded to help other entrepreneurs get their businesses off the ground with great content, strategy, branding, social media, editing, and anything in the way of words. I've got you covered, www.michelledempsey.com, or you can call me at 305-469-7500. Don't forget to tune in every Tuesday night at 7 o'clock to join me and a fellow babe in business talk all things business. Can't wait to see you there.
Hi, this is Rachel Sobel.
And this is Michelle Dempsey. And you're listening to the Keep It Real Moms.
Well, no, it is if Danielle's watching it.
Right.
Danielle's watching us. She's a multitasking mama, owns her own creative agency with her hubs. And now she's not only bathing her kids, she's also watching us. So shout out to you.
We love multitasking moms.
You know what? They'll tell you that if you're multitasking, you're not. Is it multi or multi?
I mean, is it leisure or leisure?
It's absolutely leisure. Okay. So I'm just going to leave that there.
Okay.
But anyway, whether you're multitasking or multitasking, they're saying that like you can't do anything well if you're doing that, but you can't be a mom and not multitask.
100%.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's when you get good at doing things with one hand.
This. Yeah, we talked about this. I'm doing 12 things at once, and that's how I operate.
Yeah.
Deal with it.
Yeah.
All right. So back to the issue at hand, this whole female entrepreneur thing, empowered woman thing. If you're an empowered woman, the idea is you don't like men. One has nothing to do with the other. I happen to love men. Anyway, but
do you?
I'm going to go off.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Keep going. I'm going to let's.
I just digress. All right. But the theory is not, I've become this empowered woman or I'm going to make all this money because I don't need a man. No, it's more, I have lived my life as a woman. I've gone through puberty. I've gone through high school with all the crap that comes associated with that. I went to college. I went to grad school. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I figured out a job wasn't for me. Oh, I feel confident enough to start my own business. Has nothing to do with the other gender.
Right.
At all.
Right.
At all.
It's about you.
It's about you.
Not your partner.
Now, perspective is what comes into play here, because when a man meets you and is like, oh, you're your own boss and you have your own business and you speak about empowerment and personal development, you must hate men, you're a bitch.
Right.
That's because you feel threatened, my friend.
Right, 100%.
And you are intimidated.
100%.
So
what do we do? What do we do in our role, right? In what we do on a daily basis and how we live our lives?
We have a glass of wine.
That too. We can't change the world. But how do we, from our own little, chunk of this world, how do we get the understanding across and debunk that whole bitch thing? Because it upsets me that that's the stereotype, because this is only going to grow.
I'll tell you, and that's an interesting question. So I think, people are going to have their opinions until they get to know you.
Yes.
When they see your picture, like, I thought you were somebody way different before I met you.
You did? What did you think? I need to know.
Just, you were, to me, you were just a mythical creature behind your wine and Cheez-Its thing. Like, I didn't think you were a bitch or a nice person. You were just a person.
Okay.
But then you get to know the person, right? So I know for me, for the last 15 years of my life, even before I became my own boss, the starting line is, oh my God, you're so much nicer than I thought you would be. Well, and so I think to debunk the method, it's your actions. Mm-hmm. You can be a bitch of an entrepreneur and you can hate men and be an empowerment speaker. But if you're not that person, it's going to come through in your actions. If you're authentic, if you really care about the world around you, if you want to love your spouse or your boyfriend or whatever really hard and still tell women they don't, need to rely on anybody because they don't, it's not one and the same.
Right. I agree. And I think that, but there has to be an understanding on the other side that there's a responsibility of someone not to judge you based on your picture on your blog or what you're speaking about.
We're judgy creatures, though. It's going to happen.
Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. But when you're a woman who's making another woman feel awful, or try to, because you're not going to make me feel awful for leaving. It's the best decision I ever made in my life, and I feel good about it every day when I wake up, and I put my head down every night knowing that I made the right decision for me and for my family. Doesn't mean it's for everybody.
I'll tell you when I knew I was doing the right thing and how good it made me feel. The nastiest thing somebody ever wrote. I wrote a piece for Huffington Post a year ago that did very well. It was like one of the top promoted pieces, and it was about maternity leave policies and how messed up they are. And I was going through this whole crisis about having to go back to work after I had Bella. So maybe this was a little while ago. But some man, I got thousands of comments, positive ones, women telling me, oh my God, I needed to read this. Oh my God, I had to share this. Some guy was like, says the girl who's sitting in her $1 million home as her husband supports her. And I wanted to be like, if you only knew. Like, I felt that bubble up inside of me, but I was like, oh, wait.
But
I've made it because I've sparked enough.
100%. When you get those comments, it's equal parts maddening. Because I did this, we talked about this. I had it on Scary Mommy. I wrote about,
those are the worst, those comments. I got them too on there.
But it's almost as if people don't read what you write and they maybe latch on to one or two sentences and then they go for the jugular. And it's so sad to me.
I just want to say something. If you're an internet troll that really just has the time to read articles and write nasty things, you're the one who needs to get up and do something. Yes. Like, that is, to me, so mindless. Like, life is short. You can get hit by a truck tomorrow.
Some people just like to fight. Some people just like to fight.
I feel so bad for them.
And I think part of this whole, until we get rid of this myth, because it's going to take like a really long time for us to get to a point where people don't automatically judge someone like you or I on our personality before meeting us and sitting down and having a cup of coffee or a drink or whatever. I think that we have to have a thick skin. And in some things I can do it. I'm really good. I can put my poker face on, but sometimes it hurts. Sometimes someone, hits a little bit too low and you still kind of have to like fake it till you make it and put that smile on and pretend like it doesn't bother you, but we're human. So, there's...
You can cry on my shoulder anytime, girl.
I can. I'm a crier.
You are. I've never seen you cry in my life.
I'm a crier.
In my whole 7 months of knowing you, I've never seen you cry.
I've never seen you cry in my life.
I cried at your baby shower. You didn't cry at your baby shower.
No, I'm a crier, whether I'm angry, mad, happy, sad. That's like how I emote. I am a crier. I am
1,000% me too, but I'm just in shock because I've never seen you cry.
Yeah, it's going to
Has anybody made you cry with their criticism? Because I will find them and I will tell them.
Not in a really long time. I cried almost every day in the last few months of my job that I quit. Like I literally would come home and cry. But there's nothing that anyone has said that has made me cry. I get to the keyboard though and I start to type. And then I'm like, what am I doing? This person is nobody. And then I delete and I ignore it. Like I didn't even read half the comments after the whole situation on Scary Mommy. But like you do have to learn not to react, because you and I are very similar, that if someone attacks, you want to strike back because you want to defend yourself. And that's another thing. You have this stereotype
I'm tell you why I don't.
Of being, a powerful woman, so you must be a bitch. You have that stereotype, so people think that you are gonna be that person who goes after them. I will never come after you unless if you go after my kid, like we've talked about, or if you really say something hurtful to me where I feel like I have to defend myself. I'm going to defend myself, and then I don't want to be called a mean girl, because I'm not a mean girl.
Here's
if
why
I
I'm
defend
not
myself.
defending myself ever against anyone who doesn't like me, my work, what I look like, what I say, what I do. I don't care. I'm not defending myself. A, because I'm authentic to my brand, which is you put yourself out there and you don't care. Mm-hmm. And B, sure, I wanted to retaliate to that comment on the Huffington Post article and be like, MFer, you want to know what's really going on in my life? Because it was a time where nobody was supporting me, and so I wanted to retaliate. And I said to myself, you know what, Michelle, you're going to be a published author, and everything stays on the web. Yeah, and you might be the first lady one day. Like, how is this going to look for me? And would I want my daughter to read this?
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. I think about that every time I write anything, as I think about my daughter, and that it's going to be out there. And I don't think you should ever engage with strangers in terms of defending yourself. I guess I meant more from a personal level. Like if someone in a circle or an affiliated circle ever did anything, what would it take for me to strike back? And I would never be unprofessional. I'd never be rude. But I do think that sometimes you do have to defend yourself and stand up for yourself. And then what ends up happening is then you go from being the bitch to being the mean girl.
And you also have to consider anywhere you live. I don't care if it's New York City or here in Boca. So your little drop in the bucket of your retaliation has a lasting effect, because that person is going to mention one day Rachel Sobel, and then your reputation before you know it is tarnished. So I never want to be associated with being the fire starter.
I agree.
I take the high road.
I agree.
Say what you want about me. I sleep very well at night.
Yep. Yeah. And that's what it comes down to. We are not going to be, you and I, collectively and individually, are not going to be for everyone. And that's totally, totally fine. We want the people around us who genuinely enjoy our interaction and the hair flipping. And do you like my red lipstick tonight, by the way?
I cut my hair, and I'm going to tell you guys why.
You didn't answer my question.
I told you 47 times.
Not on camera.
Oh.
Not on camera.
Love Rachel
Act
Sobel's
like it's the
red
first
lipstick.
time.
Please comment about her lipstick.
God.
I do love it. It suits you. You know, I don't do it well because I have darker skin. You do it well. It's just this beautiful mix of just perfection.
Thank you.
I can't even find the words.
Thank you.
And I was going to say something.
Your
and now
hair.
I lost
You
it.
cut your hair.
Oh. The hair. Guys, I do a lot more than just have hair that looks, presentable. I'm never going to get over the day I posted. I was so proud of my self-made little mini webinar thing I put out there about self-promotion and da-da-da. And the entire thread was,
about
oh
your
my
hair?
God. And I was like, seriously?
Do you know what I started doing? I love
the compliments.
I started saying to both my girls, because I am like that stereotypical Jewish mother. I am. I'm like, oh, you're so delicious and you're so cute and you're so pretty. And I do that all the time. Sheets. But now I started saying to the baby and to Ava, I go, you're so pretty and you're so strong. I say it all the time because I want them. No, for real. Like, listen, I'm not one of those moms who is not okay with the Disney princess thing. You be a Disney princess to all your heart's desire.
Right. I am a Disney princess.
It is like a rite of passage. It's fine. But I do believe that we have to raise our little girls to be
more than just
strong and have equal parts brains and brawn.
No, did you guys see what my daughter gave me for Mother's Day?
Do tell. I saw, but
oh, okay. Am I wasting your time or something here? My mom, who's amazing, she was in Nordstrom and she found the little nameplates for the desk that has Dr. Sobel or whatever. It said "Girl Boss." I had to.
I know. I love it.
It said "Girl Boss," and so I have a picture of my daughter holding this thing, and in my head, it was the sweetest little gift.
The
it obviously
picture's amazing,
wasn't a Rolex, but I cried speaking of crying, because the first thing I saw in my head was my little girl in her big corner office one day with the picture of herself as a baby holding that. And I just said, you know what? This is my mission in life. Nothing else matters. My mission, regardless of all the guilt that comes with being a working mom, anything anybody wants to say, I'm going to keep, like, I'm not done till I'm in Forbes, till my daughter is out there trying to be a strong, independent, successful woman.
And this is why this topic is so important to me, is because our girls are going to see the path.
They're going to be just the greatest.
They are, but they're going to see the path we go through, and they're going to see the external forces and all the people that are the haters and say the nasty things. And we need to arm them with enough confidence to understand that it doesn't affect us. And so that's why another reason I think it's so important to kind of just power through it. But it's sad to me that they will see other women not supporting other women like that. I don't want them to ever see those examples. Can't help it. It's part of life. That's why we have to keep
doing what we're doing. That's why you have to join ProFems, the female professional networking group that I started, so that women can avoid that and find their sort of circle of trust among being a working entrepreneur as a woman and being a mom and all those things. Obviously, I'm always here to empower your brand and help you with a marketing strategy. You know where to find me, Michelle@michelledempsey.com.
And I'm here to make you laugh. Yep, I'm here to make you laugh. Wineandcheezits.com with an H.
I'm the Michelle Dempsey on the gram, and we love you guys. And we are gearing up to have some visitors on the show.
Which is
super exciting
stuff. Yep.
Hope you guys are having a good week. I skipped Jimmy Buffett for tonight.
I'm proud of you that you did. Yeah. And if you ever miss us, by the way, you can always find recorded versions on SoundCloud at Keep It Real Moms.
And YouTube at amp2.tv. That's the channel. And the Babes in Business WNN Facebook page. You know, we're self-promoting all day long. Thank you so much for joining us. Keep being a Keep It Real mom and keep doing your thing and stop caring about what people think.
Preach.
Yes. Look, good one. Lots of energy there.
And just like that, tonight's episode has come to an end, and not because we want it to. Trust me, if you haven't noticed, we would go on and on about anything. But if we're going to keep it really real, we're tired. We've been momming, working, hustling, and catering to our littlest people all at the same time, all day long. It's time for a glass of wine, some trashy TV, and leggings. Until next week, we are the Keep It Real moms.